It's Thursday, the 13th of April, 2023. Welcome to the Fast Five by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
Sean, 5 stories, 5 minutes. Let's jump straight in. Story number 1, the International Monetary Fund has downgraded its forecast for the Australian economy and has warned that the chance of a hard landing for the global economy has risen.
The IMF forecasts that the Australian economy will expand by 1.6% this year, down from its previous estimate of just under 2%, and 1.7% next year. The IMF doesn't think inflation will return to the Reserve Bank's 2 to 3% target band until at least 2025. The agency, which is part of the United Nations, also expects unemployment to rise. It predicts inflation will stay higher for longer and risks in the financial sector are elevated amid the fallout from the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank in the US last month. Now, following the release of the forecast, which actually aren't that far off the Reserve Bank's estimates, Treasurer Jim Chalmers said that conditions in the global economy are deteriorating. He said the numbers provide a grim backdrop for the May 9 federal budget, calling this shift in the global outlook confronting. He was speaking ahead of his departure to Washington to hold meetings with the IMF and the G20 finance ministers. Reserve Bank Governor Phil Lowe and Treasury Secretary Stephen Kennedy will join Dr. Chalmers in Washington, Michael.
That sounds like quite the party, Sean. Story number 2, Acting Prime Minister Penny Wong yesterday hinted that if Australia's deal with China to cut barley tariffs is successful, then good news, wine could be next in line.
Senator Wong said China has agreed to an expedited review of tariffs imposed in recent years. In return, Australia has suspended its action in the WTO. Wong said the government now has a pathway to clear the tariff impediment on barley, and if it works, she wants to look at wine. She was speaking after China's Commerce Ministry, that's the government department that imposed the steep tariffs in 2020, said it wants to work with Canberra to resolve disputes, including the 2 cases involving wine and barley before a World Trade Organization expert review panel. That certainly is good news for wine growers. Just quickly on the same topic, yesterday the Commonwealth Bank put out estimates that suggest coal exports to China nearly doubled in March compared to February. Clearly, relations between Canberra and Beijing are improving.
Yeah, they certainly seem to be. Sean, story number 3, a record 2.6 million passports were printed last year, and there's still 2 million yet to be renewed.
Oh, no wonder those queues outside passport offices were so long last year, Michael. The Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade said applications are continuing to pour in at a rate 25% above pre-COVID levels. The passport office has made significant inroads and waiting times have come down from 6 weeks to 10 days, according to the department. Now, I've got to tell you from personal experience, some passports took much longer than 6 weeks last year. The cost of passports has also risen to $325 for an adult's 10-year passport and $164 for a child's 5-year passports. Passports are being well used, though. There were 8 times more departures from Australia in December last year compared to January.
Story number 4, Sean, I love a good story about space, but this one I think might need a little bit of an explanation from you. Because apparently, if Australia wants a model for electrification of energy, then it should use space as a role model because everything up there is pretty much carbon-free.
That's right. Enrico Palermo has been head of the National Space Agency since early 2021. And yesterday he was reported in the Financial Review as saying that everything in space is electrified. Now, it actually makes sense if you think about it. Space exploration and existing satellite operations by their very nature have to be self-sufficient when it comes to energy. And the technology advances stemming from that are being applied back down here on Earth as we head towards decarbonisation of industry. Palermo reckons the space sector generally offers a better risk-reward opportunity in tougher economic times because investors are competing for returns that outdo Earth-based applications of technology or exploration. The moral of this tale, space can provide the answers to decarbonisation. At least I think that's the moral of the tale.
You sound so certain of that, Sean. All right, well, we'll move on quickly then. Story number 5, last one. How about this? Legendary investor Warren Buffett has, it appears, made about $4.5 billion investing in Japanese trading houses since 2020. So that's actually not that long ago.
No, you've got to have money to make money, mind you. And of course, Buffett is the master. He's always been very keen on Japan. According to Bloomberg, Buffett invested $6.1 billion in August 2020, threw in another $2.4 billion in November that year. That takes that to $8.5 billion. That stake is now worth $13 billion. Trading houses in Japan earn much of their income from energy-related businesses, although they invest in all sorts of things, not unlike Buffett's own business, Berkshire Hathaway. Buffett's Berkshire bought into these trading houses when oil prices were depressed. That was early in the COVID pandemic. That has changed markedly, and Warren Buffett has made a lot of money.
All right, there we go. The top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
It's Thursday, the 13th of April, 2023. Remember to hit follow on the podcast. And if 5 minutes isn't enough, you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed, wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget as well, the Amazon Echo smart speaker range comes with Alexa built in. Simply say, Alexa, play the Fast 5 by Fear and Greed podcast to catch the latest episode. You can get yours now at amazon.com.au. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.